Hello and welcome to the Super Mario 64 70-star tournament race between Drago710, Shy _ Darkman 64,000, and speedruntrainer. That's right, guys. We're doing a four-way race. What this is actually two races that are happening side by side. My name is Ashley Arya.
And I am Galactic Yoshi 28.
And we will be the barely contained voices bringing you contentious jokes and invaluable information through the next hour. Alright, so first off, we would do well to look at these standings on the races, because we have a few very interesting sets of, like, just the way that things are working out in terms of the wins and the losses that each group has racked up. Right, we were talking about this just before coming in. Right away, while we go for this, we see all four of the runners attempting Lucky to Skip, where you long jump on the balustrade to skip the Lucky to cutscene. Darkman manages to get it, speedruntrainer and Shy narrowly missed it, and Drago's going for it right now. And he misses it as well. That's kind of surprising. Alright, so we see them going in for the second trick of the run. It's called Bump Clip. Galactic Yoshi, do you want to explain Bump Clip?
Basically what we do at Bomb Clip is we jump into it and grab a bomb, then we do a couple jumps and then grab it again and use it to clip into the fence. There's also one thing that's interesting about the bomb is that there's different sizes when you grab the bomb, and you have to make sure it's big, medium bomb, right? To actually get it.
Yep. Here we see that speedruntrainer did not quite manage to get the bomb clip, and thus decided to do the casual route. Drago, on the other hand, is opting to move away from the bomb so that it despawns and respawns again, so that he can attempt bomb clip one more time. And on that time, he does manage to get it. Alright, so some interesting notes in terms of routing. Both of our top of the runners on the top, Drago and Shy, are going to do Whomp's 8. That means that they will be going into Whomp's Fortress right away instead of doing the slide first. On the other hand, the two runners on the bottom are going to do Whomp's 9. They will do the slide star first and then go into Whomp's. This difference in routing is basically reduced to cancel movement and only takes about a second, but we know what to do with those seconds in speedrunning.
Definitely.
Alright, and
well, Womp's Fortress is the first stage of what we do, what's called the 100 coin star, in which you grab 100 coins to get an extra bonus star in the level.
That's one of the very few 100 coin stars that we do in the entire game. In the 70-star routing, at least. Drago710, you may have noticed, got the owl star, the cage star without the owl, by doing a trick called Owlless that involves triple jumping against the cage and wall jumping off of the cage in order to get inside without having to get the owl. It saves about 6 to 8 seconds, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, a lot of runners don't go for Owlless because the movement, even to before you actually do the actual skip, has to be very well precise.
Here we see that Shy does it as well, and he manages to get it. Yeah, it's very precise. This trick is a 2-frame trick. So if you... And it involves also, like, neutraling your stick and pulling your stick to the left in the right places, and it's a very technical skip to pull off. So it's normal that a lot of runners just kind of decide to not go for it. And here we see Shy going for Cannonless. Do you want to go ahead and explain Cannonless, Yoshi?
Sure. Cannonless. Originally, what we're supposed to do, the intended strat, is we're supposed to open a cannon and then shoot the cannon into the wall, which breaks it up, and then go back and grab the star. But instead, we can, using a setup that Shy just did, we can actually clip into the star in a way that the loading zone and the hitbox of the star we actually go into it. There's actually a few different ways you can set up Cannonless. The one that you see right here by Drago is the longest one, but it's also the most successful. So you have the, you do the backflip, grab onto it, kind of press up down until you fall into it. There's also one that's kind of like in between where you kind of skip the backflip called texture skip, and then there's also the OG where you basically kind of like just randomly fall off the thing and hope you get it.
Hope is the right term there. There's literally like, just by running, there's like, that's what we used to do, like when we were cavemen, just not knowing that the setup existed. Here we see Darkman going for that setup again. It's actually very consistent. Even I have managed to get Cannonless with that setup, and I don't even run this game.
Yeah, Cannonless is one of those strats where you see it SM64 when you just want to try it.
And here we see Drago showcasing a glitch that you didn't know when you... Oh, no, that you didn't know about when you were playing casually. You can just, like, ground pound through the womp. It's fine. The hitbox just, like, doesn't happen.
What I think actually happened is that the holes in the womp are actually, like, not programmed into it, in a sense. So you're actually going through a hole in the womp.
Shine going for his second slide star. He's going to be the first of the runners to move on to the next part of the run. It's very surprising to see such a technical stage womps so early in the run, but it's what you have to think about is that the fact that it's so technical and so precise with like so many precise tricks is because those tricks are completely unintended. They're skips. They're things like Cannonless and Owlless. That's not what the developers intended. They didn't intend for the first stage to be this hard.
Definitely not. And some of it's not even just it's the skips combined with the movement, and just makes it an overall hard stage to do right in the beginning of the run.
It is the reason for many, many resets. And the thing is, for those runners who are not used to a tournament setting, that can throw them off really fast because you don't think as much about the early game when you're doing attempts because you can just reset if you mess something up in like JRB or Womps. But in a run, in a race, you can't just like reset and try again. So the early game ends up having a much bigger effect on your race time than what you thought it would. And right there we saw Shy going and getting a glitch called text box skip that is also being called a yump. Basically you double jump off of the switch, and if you collect the star before you touch the ground, you will manage to not trigger the text boxes that explain how the wing cap works. And we will see Darkman going for it as well here. And he gets it.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see if a lot of these runners did a lot of like no reset runs to kind of prepare for this tournament.
That's definitely the only way to prepare, because there's nothing that can prepare you for the nerves and for the tilt. So something interesting to mention here, that stage that Shy is going through right now and that Darkman just entered, Bowser in the Dark World, is one of the 3 Bowser stages, and as both of the first 2 Bowser stages do, it's on a very tight timer. Basically, if you manage to do your movement super precisely and perfectly right and not missing your jumps and everything, you can get on the platforms over there that are going around in a circle before they slide out from under the red coin, which means that you will save a few seconds. The community has given these cycles that you get different names depending on how fast or how slow it is. So that's something interesting to know. A small delay in the early part of this stage can lead to like a much longer delay later on.
Yeah, and this stage is very hard and also causes a lot of resets.
Mm-hmm. Like all of the Bowser stages being in the middle of the void, you just if you fall, it just spits you back out and you're kind of hecked. So it leads a lot of players to just have to do the whole thing again. It's very unfortunate when it happens. I've seen people fall out of Bowser in the Sky before in the middle of a race.
Surprising, Shy is having some a little bit of trouble with Sky Jump at first. We'll see if he can got it though.
Sky Jump, not technically a glitch, but definitely an unintended behavior. If you miss the Sky Jump that we were talking about, here we're going to see Darkman going for it again. You basically just kick up the slope, triple jump off of that platform, and you manage to get onto the island without having to go through a cannon.
Do you think that'll be a good time to go into like the group kind of thing that we were talking about before?
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so in terms of Darkman and speedruntrainer, neither of them has done any races. No one in the group has done any races. The only other person in the group is Punkation. So there's not much to say there. However, either Drago or Shy could win their race. And either way, depending on the race that's coming in after, either of the results could lead to a 3-way tie. And that's ridiculous. So if Shy wins, and then in the Ocnem versus Steve M race, Ocnem wins, there will be a 3-way tie for second place. And if Drago wins, and then Steve M wins later, there will be a 3-way tie for first place. And both of those would lead to a tiebreaker. That's kind of ridiculous. It's a very interesting point to be at in the tournament. The Ocnem versus Steve M race is happening later today at 7 p.m. EST. So, regardless of the result of this race, it's going to be down to the wire in terms of whether it produces it's going to require a tiebreaker later or not.
If you like chaos, we have it for you.
Oh god, yes. Usually it's just the coin RNG, but this time, nope. This time...
I think that's what's really cool about doing it, having enough people to do a group stage. That's another level of, intrigue to it.
Yeah. Darkman going for my favorite trick in the run, right there, the penguin slide. Well, technically not the penguin slide, but the little penguin just jumping off the edge and letting the geometry of the stage just take you to your destination. It's great.
It looks like Shy went for CCM17 versus CCM18, which basically is just a routing change, and 17 is basically saying we have 17 stars at the end of Cool Mountain versus 18 stars.
Mhm.
So he skips the penguin slide and did 100 points with the first slide.
Yep. He is one of 2 runners in this race that do CCM 17. So Shy, in order to make up for that star he didn't collect for the Big Penguin race, he will be collecting both Toxic Maze in HMC and TTC 100 later on in the run. Drago, on the other hand, is going to do something a little more convoluted because he doesn't like TTC 100, but he also doesn't like the Rainbow Ride Boat Star. So he's going to do Toxic Maze and THI Reds, despite doing CCM 18.
Shy is now in a BBH or a Big Boost Hunt, and it's one of the shortest stages as far as 70 star. We're only 2 stars here, and both stars are very straightforward. There's not really that many skips in a sense, other than getting onto the roof of this where you guys got the star from, which probably gave us all a bunch of troubles when we were younger.
Even the way to the star after you manage to defeat the Boo is complicated to get to if you're a casual player, because like, how do you get up that very steeply sloped roof? You just have to pray, basically. Alright, and Shy catching Mips, the rabbit, named after the processor in the N64. In the meantime, Drago showcases the other option in terms of CCM routing, which is doing CCM 17, that is bundling the 100 coin star with the Big Penguin slide star. Ooh, Shy going for Pillarless. Pillarless is a very, very complicated trick that has a high rate of death. Basically, it makes use of the same bomb clip that we used at the beginning of these runs in order to clip through the top of the tower, through the top of the pyramid, and go into the hole that is in it in order to be able to access that part of the stage without standing on the 4 pillars. It saves an amazing amount of time. Here we see Darkman going for it as well. However, since you have to go over the shifting sand, it can kill you at multiple points.
There's actually a route that people that are like probably sub 50 have gone for, where you actually have to do that scratch twice. We do not only the one at the top of the pyramid, but you also do the secrets inside of the pyramid as well.
Yep. If you do, it's basically the base routing is CCM 17, and then you have to choose 2 between doing CCM 18, doing Toxic Maze, TTC, SSL Secrets, or THI Reds. Among those 5, you choose 2, and that will leave you with 70 stars at the end of the run. So it's basically which stars are you most comfortable with out of those 5. And we see Darkman and Shy both going into Lethal Lavaland. They're going to showcase the power of the lava boosts, I'm sure, and also either hack or get hacked by the bullies, the enemy which no one likes.
Yeah, all the runners had no problem with catching Mips.
However, it's very easy for Mips to juke you and just like start running off before you manage to catch him. not super great when you suddenly lose like 5 to 10 seconds just running after MIPS.
Another interesting fact, last fact about MIPS is that there's actually 2 of them, and the first one on the English version is actually slower than the one in the Japanese version.
That's interesting, I didn't know that.
But the second one is the same speed. The second one appears after 50 stars.
I see. Here we see that Drago decided not to go for pillarless instead of using the vanilla route, the casual route of sliding with the shell on the 4 pillars. And speedruntrainer is doing the same strategy as well. As we mentioned earlier, pillarless saves a lot of time, but is also a very risky strategy, so on a race setting where losing a lot of time in exchange for maybe making up some more time is not really very interesting. It's good to see that they're playing it safe. Oof, Drago having a little trouble collecting that star. Thankfully, he does not slide onto the quicksand there. I've seen a lot of deaths from trying to collect the top of the pyramid star and just sliding down into the quicksand and dying. For those who haven't played the game before, that quicksand is insta-death if you spend like 2 frames in it without jumping. And both Shy and Darkman showcasing a very, very nice trick called Lava Boost, where they boost up the cascade in order to be able to skip all of the movement they would have needed to do in order to get up there.
Lava Boost is one of the very few strats that is only used in 70 star, because in 120 you combine the star at the top of the inside of the volcano with the 100-point star, so you wouldn't use Lava Boost because you need those points.
However, you do use Lava Boost for the star that Darkman is doing right now, where you boost onto the second elevator in order to avoid waiting for the ride of the first elevator. That is the actual intended route. Right, and Darkman and Shy are our first runners to go into HMC. HMC, a very interesting fact about it, this entire quote-unquote cave has no ceilings. So we're going to see Darkman here do a triple jump off of the box, what is usually called a box jump, and he narrowly missed it. He's going to do this triple jump instead, and he jumps over the edge of the wall, and because there's no ceiling, the wall just kind of allows him to go past it. He does not quite manage to get the Christmas Miracle set up, but it's very easily fixed with a double jump and a kick against the grate. Alright, Shy is going to go for a clip here. Perfect. So this clip is going to allow him to skip a significant portion of the way into getting this star, the Toxic Maze star, one of the stars that you can choose to do or not do, depending on how comfortable you are with your routing. Darkman showing off that box jump in order to get this star.
Drago did a nice job of getting Lava Boost as well. Oh no, he fell off after getting that.
Oof. That's going to cost him a fair amount of time. He's going for Lava Boost again. However, he did not manage to get it this time, and then got 3 consecutive Lava Boosts in a row, which means that you can only get 2 before you have to heal up and try again. So, sadly, that ejected him from the volcano. However, an interesting property of this stage that I do not believe is replicated in any other stages. If you die inside the volcano, when you go back into the painting, if it's the very next thing you do, you appear in the volcano instead of at the usual spawn point outside. So that saves on time getting back in.
I believe that also is in SSL. If you die inside the pyramid, you stay there.
Yes, you're correct. Shy and getting that very, very infamous Watch for Running Rockstar. And that's going to be the last star that Shy collects in HMC. With that bestowed star, he is going to be moving on to Dire Docks.
Shy has a pretty big lead over Drago right now. I mean, there's a lot of stars to do and a lot of places to mess up still, so.
That's true. I just realized we haven't mentioned their PBs before. Shy and Drago have a rather large difference in terms of their PBs. Shy is at 50.56 and Drago is at 105.55. So that's a 15-minute difference. In this kind of game, that's a very large difference.
Then Darkman has a 57.57, and speedruntrainer has actually 2 PBs. I don't know which one is actually depending on what console he's running on. So his VC PB is a 55.40 and his SM64 PB is a 58.39.
And let me remind you guys that it is not impossible for any of these runners to get a PB during the race. One of the runners in this tournament actually got a PB on their first tournament race by like 4 minutes. So even though this is a very stressful mode of like no reset, race, just go, it's still very possible to PB and just get a better time, and hey, maybe you didn't win the race, but at least you get that out of it.
Basically, anytime you can get a PB, you can't complain about it, you know? No matter what game, no matter what category. If you get a PB, be happy about it.
I mean, it's not necessarily you can't complain. It's, to be honest, like, if you get a PB in a race, whether you win or lose, it's like, you performed better than you've ever performed. There's no way to not be happy about that.
Yeah.
Even if, Shy right there getting stuck between the lava and the platform. That can happen in a few platforms on the game, and it's, as you can see, an immediate death sentence. Very unfortunate.
That has happened to me before, sadly. Very nice, Manta Ray. Those circles can be very finicky in their hitboxes.
Alright, I see a question on chat asking, so if their levels are so different, why did we put them together? Well, this is a very open tournament. We accepted people of all levels. All they had to do was sign up and show their PB for the seeding. So it's very possible for people with very different skill levels to go into the tournament. In the group stages, obviously the people with lower skill levels will end up being eliminated because that's how a tournament works. And so in the later stages, we will be seeing much closer skill levels as we go up higher and higher on the skill level ladder. But on these first stages of the tournament, it's normal to see big difference in skill levels in the same race even.
And that's something that's not just for SM64, that's really for any tournament with this amount of people.
Also, I've been saying skill level a lot. Let me assure you that skill levels have nothing to do with how quote-unquote good or bad a runner is. Literally the only thing that your skill level depends on is how much practice and how much time you've put into the game. If you practice a ton, and if you practice every day and you manage to keep getting your PB down, you're obviously going to be at a higher level than someone who just got started. So even for the people with not such a high skill, it's really it should be no shame involved in not having as high of a skill level as someone else who spent like maybe 3-5 years running this game and just knows everything, like their muscles know everything by heart.
Yeah, there's some people in this tournament that have literally just started running like a couple months ago, and there's people that have been running this for like 5 years in this tournament. So there's definitely a wide range of experience.
And Shy becomes our first player to reach upstairs. That's a very respectable lead, even over the other two players who are not in his race. To answer the question in chat, no, Darkman is not the Darkman WS on the leaderboard. Darkman here is Darkman 64,000. If you're looking at the leaderboard, actually, if you're looking at speedrun.com, I don't exactly know what his username is on there, but if you're looking at our challenge page, he is listed as Darkman 64,000. Alright. Both Darkman and Shy going through a dry world, and this painting is rather unique in this game. Do you want to explain why?
Basically, this is one of what I like to call a dynamic entrance, meaning that you enter the painting or entrance zone changes the level. So if you enter in the bottom, there's like no water. And you enter in the middle, it'll be like halfway, and you enter at the top, it'll be basically flooded. This kind of concept is also, you can kind of see it in TikTok clock, depending on what time you enter. Sometimes it's moving, sometimes it's not moving.
Yep, and some runners will use this entrance to their advantage in order to put the water lever higher or lower depending on the star they're going for, in order to aid their movement and help them get to the places they want to go faster by, like, for example, putting the water level higher so that they can jump on one of the circuits and just get over to the platform they want, or like putting the level lower so that they can just run around on the ground.
True, bugs can't hide. That's definitely true. Depending on which painting you enter in THI, which we'll see later, there's the tiny side of the island and the huge side of the island.
And here we see speedruntrainer joining the other two runners in Wet Dry World. And Wet Dry World, as we mentioned, is one of the few stages where we actually collect 100 coin star, just because it has a routing that kind of has a fast enough route to collect all 100 coins to get that star. The only 100 coin stars that we get in this run are Bomb's Fortress, CCN, and this one. Some players also decided to do TikTok Club 100. I think only Shy and Darkman are going to go for it on these races.
And out of the 3 or 4 that you do, CCM is probably the easiest. And the rest of them have pretty kind of tricky areas where you can mess up.
Well, Wet Dry World is actually rather lenient since it has quite a few extra coin boxes that you can just go for if you missed one or a few coins, like up to 10 coins.
Sometimes a lot of those coin boxes can be very unforgiving in their RNG, which is called random number generator. And basically it's just something that out of the runner's control. There's nothing they can do to, change it. You can't, control where the coins are gonna go.
Yep. That is one of the very few things controlled by RNG in this entire game. That being the direction and speed at which the coins move after they have been released. So, if you watch 120 star, which is the category in which we get all of the stars up in this game, you will see that basically there's a lot of 100 coin stars, and all of them are very RNG dependent because you depend on the coins sliding towards the spot where you want them to be. Bob-omb's Battlefield towards the end of that 100 coin star is rather infamous for being really trolly in terms of where the coins slide. Answering the question on chat, there's 4 players because these are 2 races that were just scheduled at the same time, and they just decided that they were cool with having a 4-way race. But basically, there's 2 separate races going on here. We're just retransmitting them at the same time.
It's mainly because there's a lot of different kind of things going on in the speed gaming, and their schedules are really packed. So, why not have, because I'm on the same channel,
Yep.
Do you think it's a good thing?
It's also very interesting because there's always something interesting happening on at least one of the screens.
Yeah, absolutely.
For example,
basically
Shy...
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Another reason that I think it's good just means that, speedrunning in general just getting more, viewership and popularity, which is always really cool to see.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. I got into speedrunning because I needed something to procrastinate, so I started watching AGDQ videos on YouTube, one after the other. And then this one GDQ video led me to oh, there's an link to the past race here. And then I started watching speed gaming, and now I'm commentating on it, which is surreal. So yeah, if you enjoy these kinds of games, either old or new, if you enjoy playing a game many times, maybe speedrunning is for you. Maybe you want to show off the fact that you can beat this game faster than everyone else. Try it out, it might be fun. These runners did it. On that note, let me remind you, these runners are doing an amazing job. These runners are putting a lot of time and effort into getting better and besting themselves, and they are being very brave in letting us stream in front of a much larger audience than they're used to. So go ahead and follow the runners. The links for their channels were just put on the chat, so go follow them. I am sure they will appreciate it.
Yeah, especially if you like SM64, definitely check these guys out.
Chai doing another very, very unintended strat, just dropping off the ledge and kicking in order to get into the niche. Now, something very interesting about the stage that Darkman and Shy are in. Well, Shy is not in there anymore, but Darkman is still there. It's called TTM for Tall Mountain, and it's got rather complicated geometry, which means it has a fair amount of invisible walls. Have you ever looked into how invisible walls actually work?
I haven't looked into kind of how they work and everything. I just know they're super annoying.
So basically, invisible walls are just misprogrammed geometry that shows up in the form of a wall that stops Mario's movement, but you can't see it. TTM and TTC are both rather infamous for having an amount of them, and they can stop Mario dead in his tracks in the middle of a jump. They can be hovering right over a chasm and throw Mario to his death. It's very complicated to avoid them if you don't know where they are. But these runners have made it a habit in their execution to just kind of automatically avoid those walls by choosing just a slightly different path.
One thing about TTM that I don't think you mentioned yet is there's a clip that you can do. So you basically go into the water is actually programmed kind of inside the mountain. So there's a clip you could do to get inside that extra water out of bounds area, and then skip a bunch of the platforming.
Yep. You might have seen some of these runners going for it by basically just jamming themselves against the wall as soon as they spawn on TTM. There's other runners who are not as comfortable with the trick because if you swim incorrectly on the water behind the wall, you can swim to your death, so that's not great. So instead what they do is they use the breeze that we've seen all four of these runners use beforehand, and it gets them basically to the same spot, just a little later.
Hey, Sockman, who cares if it takes you 10 hours, you do runs, you get better, next thing you know, you cut that in half, and then you cut that in half, and next thing you know, you have sub 1 hour and you're good at this game.
Alright, so Shy, showing that he is really, really ahead of the other three runners, being the first person to be on Tippy. Tippy being the tippy top of the castle, housing these two last stages, Rainbow Ride and Tip-Top Clock. And he's going for the Lucky 2 bounce. And he manages to get it.
This was definitely not intended by Nintendo when they programmed this.
Yeah. Lucky 2 Bounce is a complicated skip that involves, as you saw, wall jumping on that ramp, and then bouncing on the Lucky 2 after having lured him to the ramp, and then having to jump and slide up to the pole. It's rather technical. It's not something that you can just get. So, massive props for being able to pull off this kind of trick. And Drago is now going to join. Never mind. I got ahead of myself.
Yeah, Darkman is now going on to Tippy as well. One thing I have noticed is that even though Shy is so far ahead, compared to relative to his time, he is making a bunch of kind of showing some rust as far as his, playing.
Yeah, that's true. It's very interesting to see runners of different skill levels compete like this, because then you look at their PBs and you're like, oh, the winner was like 3 or 4 minutes away from their PB, but like the other person finished within 1 minute of their PB, and you're like, well, like even though the second person lost, they performed magnificently, so it's not really a bad situation for them.
He definitely could be on PB Pace.
Yep, we have a question in the chat asking if Darkman might be in PB Pace, and having in mind that he is 11 minutes actually, away from his PB right now, and he's already on Rainbow Ride, I would not be surprised if he got very close, if not surpass his PB.
Shy is on the TikTok clock, which is very annoying as far as gets movement and stuff. And if you, like you mentioned before, those invisible walls, you hit one and it's basically insta-death.
Mostly because one of those invisible walls is just going to throw you into the chasm. Shy doing some beautiful movement there, going up the red coin moving things, I don't know how to call those, in order to cut a lot of movement off there. I've asked a few speedrunners, and some of them actually tell me that TikTok clock is one of their favorite stages, because when you manage to get the movement right, it feels really good. It's very beautiful movement. It's just like chaining triple jumps into wall kicks, into something onto a moving platform. As you can see Shy doing right now, he's definitely an expert at this. And it's just amazing to watch and really nice to play.
Yeah, when a level or a split, is really hard movement or really hard skip, it's very satisfying when you get it.
Shy now going for... Never mind. I keep getting ahead of myself and like calling what star they're going for, and then they prove me wrong. This is not the first time this has happened.
Drago is now going on to Snowman's Land. I actually think that Drago might be on PB Place as well.
That might be possible. However, I don't think he is too close to PB Pace. He is 15 minutes, about 15 minutes away from his PB. 16, exactly. And he is still 15 stars away from 70, so I would not... it is possible, but we'll have to see how the rest of the race plays out. I see a question on chat. PB difference between Darkman and Speedrun Trainer. Speedrun Trainer's PB. Well, this is complicated to figure out because Speedrun Trainer actually has two PBs listed. One for Virtual Console, which is 5540, and one for N64, which is 5830. And Darkman's PB is 5757, which is in the middle of those two. So they're actually pretty even in terms of PB, so it's up to you. You can make that call on which you think applies best to the situation.
Drago's saying in the chat that you're underestimating how bad his PB is.
Alright, I will take his word for that then.
Alright, Drago, come on, get a PB.
Yeah, I mean, Drago, go on, go ahead and get a PB. Show me wrong. This is in no way a sarcastic anything, like literally, please show me wrong. I would love to see a PB being achieved in this race. Darkman taking an unfortunate fall there. Thankfully, he does not fall all the way off of TikTok clock, but here we can see how the other side of that beautiful movement that TikTok clock allows for, just if you miss it, it punishes you very harshly.
That might be for PB. I'm not sure though. Shy has gotten his 70th star, which unlocks the Bowser door, and now he can go on freely to Bowser from the Sky. There's actually, it actually allows you to go into the staircase before 70 stars, but it's an endless staircase, which can only be skipped by a thing called backwards long jumps, which is banned in this category.
You might have heard of it on the community. It's usually referred to as BLJ. However, because 70 star is called any percent no major skips category, basically, that BLJs are considered a major skip because they allow you to just fly through certain parts of the game that should not be able to, that were definitely not intended for you to skip. So, yeah, it's not no major glitches, there's plenty of glitches allowed, but it's just no major skips. And here we see Shy being the first person going into the last Bowser fight. Not all is finished. He still has to get all of the Bowser throws, which are infamous for a good reason. But he does manage to get the first one, and the second one.
What Mario says right here has basically become a meme across everyone else that's a fan of 64.
Yeah, that's very true. And he manages to very, very nicely get all three of the Bowser throws in a row. That's something that very, very top level runners have trouble with. Even Chiso5 has had trouble with losing PBs to just badly, not necessarily badly executed Bowser throws, but just not lining them up perfectly. So yeah,
he's even lost world record up runs Bowser throws.
Absolutely. And here we see Shy Guy 88 finishing in first place with an official SRL time, 53 minutes and 18 seconds. Get your GGs in the chat. That was an amazing race from him. Let's see if we can get him in for an interview.
Will we get an interview or will Shy be shy?
I guess we'll find out shortly. Speedrun Trainer not quite managing to get those that movement to collect the red coins. He's trying again. And Drago taking an unfortunate death in Rainbow Ride. Drago actually has an interesting routing choice because he doesn't like doing the Rainbow Ride Boat Star. He instead decides to do both Toxic Maze, CCM18, and THI Reds just so he can skip that particular star. It's an interesting setup, but I reckon it works for him.
Oh, that's safe.
Ooh, that was so close. And Speedrun Trainer actually doing a different kind of routing, which entails doing TikTok clock before doing Rainbow Ride instead of afterwards, which is what people tend to do.
I do not know if one saves more time over the other.
It's probably routed that way because it saves like a tiny amount of time in terms of castle movement. But
yeah,
I
don't
cannot
know
say if
what
looked
that
into
one
that.
is.
Alright, and Darkman being our second runner to enter Bowser in the sky. And Shai just explained that he does not have a mic, so if you want to get any questions to him, go ahead, ask him in the chat. I am sure he will be more than happy to answer anything you can ask. Most anything. Keep it related, guys.
Darkman falling down, but it looks like he's wasn't actually going to lose too much time. So sadly, that probably means that he's not going to be able to PB.
And he was very close as well. He is 50 seconds away from his PB. Manages to keep going, and
probably going to get a 58 if he gets decent Bowser throw.
Yeah, that sounds about right. In the meantime, Speedrun Trainer collecting his last star and about to follow Darkman's trail into Bowser in the sky. Darkman manages to get his first Bowser throw. Second. And third, without even lining up his camera properly and doing the breakdancing in order to celebrate. That's hilarious. Alright, so far we have 2 out of 2 runners who have managed to get their Bowser throws without a hitch. Let's hope that trend continues. And we see Darkman finishing with an official SRL time of 58 minutes and 40 seconds, and winning his race as well.
Yeah, Darkman, if you want to come in for an interview, go right ahead.
Alright, and Speedrun Trainer going in for their Bowser fight. Let's see how that goes for them. I'm hoping that every runner manages to get 3 out of 3 Bowser throws. Ooh, there's the commentator's curse right there.
Looks like he got his first Bowser throw as Drago is getting his 68th star.
He gets the second one.
Just gonna miss the sub hour.
And gets the third.
I think that Drago, if he doesn't die at all, I think he has a good chance for PB because I think he has the good he has some of the shorter stars left.
Oh, that's going to be very interesting to watch if he does manage to PB in the middle of this race. Alright guys, we're gonna have to hold our breath and hope. And here we have Darkman for an interview. GG, how are you feeling?
Good. I have some fails during the run, but still a solid run, I think.
Yeah, solid indeed. You came within like less than a minute of your PB.
I'm 2 minutes away on my PB, my final timing. Yes. I have 56:11 for my PB.
Oh, I see. So you've managed to get it down since the last time you updated your Twitch.
Yeah. And I was on maybe 55 face in River Ride, I believe. And just lose a lot of minutes in TTC, of course.
Yeah, that's always unfortunate. Managed to PB, but like TTC, what can you do?
Yeah, but pretty happy with this run.
Still a very solid run. What would you say was your highest? We're gonna have to.
I don't know. I just until Bowser 1, I just the hardest part, I think, because Bowser 1 is very hard. WF is very hard to get very fast. So after Bowser 1, I feel much better. Good. I have some fails during the run. But
yeah, and how about those perfect Bowser throws too?
I practiced a lot this fight, so I got perfect fight very often. I have 56:11 for my.
How do you deal with the pressure of being in a tournament like this on all these races in a high pressure situation?
I usually do a lot of race, so I know how this feel to be. Not to beat the fast, but just beat your opponent. So, but in a tournament, it's a little bit different because you need to win for progress in the tournament and maybe win at the end. So, little bit stressful, I think. But if you do a lot of race, I don't think it's a problem.
Yeah, definitely. I think doing a lot of races definitely helps.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it must help with at least with nerves.
Yeah, exactly. The race is very stressful, I believe. So if you practice a lot, maybe it's easier to have good time.
Yep.
So GG to speedruntrainer too, and Chai and all the runner for this race.
Oh yeah, absolutely, GG. You guys did amazing. Actually, Drago might be on the verge of getting a PB right here, right now.
Nice.
He just needs to get his Bowser throws right.
And you got that one.
Is that the first or the second one?
I think it's the first one.
Yeah, that was the first one. He gets Bowser close enough. There's a lot of runners who do that intentionally, just getting Bowser close and then doing it again. However, that's not a technique that you can rely on for the last one, since the stage falls away.
And he got it. So based on his PB that we have, it's a PB.
Oh,
He beat.
apparently
Nice.
he has a 102 on speedrun.com, so while he still did get it within 2 minutes of his PB, it was still a very solid run. Let's see if we can get him in for an interview.
Does a speedrun trainer want to come in as well?
I don't know.
Alright, we'll figure that out. Alright, well, anything else you want to say, Darkman?
No. I hope I will do the best run I can against Punkei for my second race.
Oh yeah, absolutely. How are you feeling about that race?
I don't know, because Punkei have a very good PB if you compare to mine, so they're just
That's right.
I'm just
I mean,
going to do this race for fun, maybe, and trying
Yeah, that's fair.
trying to get a PB 55 or 54, maybe. I hope.
That would be amazing. Right, well, here we see Drago finishing the race with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 4 minutes, and 42 seconds. With a little luck, we will see him doing an interview as well.
Okay. Thanks for the commentary, guys.
Of course, and thanks for the
Thank you
show.
for racing.
No problem. Bye, guys.
Alright,
Bye.
good luck.
Thanks.
So it looks like Drago is gonna pass on the interview, but he did a great job in his run.
Yep, that's rather.
Make sure you follow all 4 of these runners.
Absolutely, all of these runners did an amazing job. None of them got like more than 3 minutes away from their PB, which in such a setting is amazing. So yeah, go follow these runners. The links to their channels are being put on the chat right now. So give them a follow. They speedrun very often. They stream when they do, and I am sure you will enjoy what the content they put out.
Definitely, absolutely.
All right, so it seems like no one else is coming in for an interview. So now's a good time to talk about this. So Shai won this race. That puts Shai at 3-0. Now, the interesting thing is that if the Oknem wins the race in about, 3 hours?
Yeah, about that.
If Oknem manages to win that race, there will be a 3-way tie for second place, which means that Shai will be the only one with an assured spot on the next stage of the tournament. Everyone else will have to do a tiebreaker. So
One second, I'm actually okay. Speaking of tiebreakers, I just looked up the challenge page, and it says that most of you, if you're not aware, the top 2 in each group advanced.
Yep.
Ties are broken by the number of wins versus tied participants, and if that's still tied, then it's whoever has the fastest time in the tournament moves on.
All right, it'll be through that then. So Punkei and Darkman's race is actually not scheduled yet. So you will have to keep a close eye on the schedule to know when that is going to happen. All right, so is there anything else you'd like to add, Yoshi, before we...
other than, make sure you follow the runners, make sure that if you want to see how the ending of Group O is going to go, make sure you check that out later tonight. I don't know which channel it's going to be on. And
That's
also,
what I'm here for.
make sure you check out the YouTube channels, and if you miss any of the races, they usually get put on in a couple of days. You know, if you want to, there's been a ton of things going on right now. If you like Zelda, you got it. If you like Mario, you got it. If you like Mega Man, if you like some of those more obscure games like Shovel Knight, you know, we got that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Speed Gaming's been doing a lot of different games in December. Alright, so now that this race is coming to an end, here are the next races that are coming up on all Speed Gaming channels. On Speed Gaming 4 right now, there is a Super Mario Odyssey any percent 4-way race right now between Tonus Valonis versus Conman Gamer and Kirby Fan 5009 versus Andy. That's still going on Speed Gaming 4, so you can still catch it. At 6 p.m. EST on Speed Gaming, you have another Super Mario Odyssey any percent race between iLovatar 42 and Foxin. Also at 6 on Speed Gaming 2, you have a Mega Man 1 All Stages race between Canster 786 and Dexter. And at 7 p.m. on Speed Gaming 3, you have Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Series race. And now, if you're still not done with Super Mario 64 and you want to see another 4-ways race, on Speed Gaming 4 at 7 p.m. EST, we have another race for Super Mario 64 70-star tournament, and it's going to be between Millennium and world record holder Chizo5 and the Oknem versus Steve M, who are going to decide the fate of this Group O. So, a very intense. It's going to be a very intense 4-way race. Even though there's only a record holder for one of the races, the other one also has high stakes. I would absolutely recommend checking that out on Speed Gaming 4 at 7 p.m. EST.
Absolutely.
All right. Anything you want to add?
No, I think we're good.
All right. So thank you so much.
Time.
Yep. Thank you so much to the runners who gave us this amazing time. Thanks to our restreamer Fiesel, who does this amazing job of keeping the Speed Gaming channels together. And thanks to you guys, to the audience, who came in and gave us a good time. My name has been Ashay Arya.
I'm Glastic Yoshi.
And until next time, good luck, have fun.